in a way to not try to be like the other kids and like trying to be right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For myself, I don't know about you guys, but you kind of had this certain vision of what Britain was going to be like before you came here. You came here and it was different, but you still wanted to fit in, and it was just trying to be like, no, I'm going to be myself, actually. I don't know, did you guys find any kind of pressure to conform in high school or anything like that?
Definitely. I would say, like, especially like I was saying, like when I was like younger, and like I think when you're a teenager, like you're 13, 14, like you care so much about people's opinions of you. And I remember this like sticks out in my mind a lot, because I think I must have been like first or second year, and someone was like, oh my god, Toby's hair feels like bum hair. And I had my natural hair out at that point. Yeah, this is yeah. And like I went home and I was with my mom, I was like, I need to straighten my hair right now. Like I just didn't feel like, yeah, I just didn't want my natural hair to be out. And like I think you kind of just cared a lot about what people think, like as you're a kid, as anyone does, I guess. When you're that age where you're like, oh, I want to fit in and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was like things like that you would try to kind of change your identity a bit more to kind of blend in. Like you didn't want to stand out no more, like, well, when I was younger. And then I think that now, like, I really don't care. Like it's such a change, and I feel that, yeah, definitely there was a pressure to conform, but I don't feel like I do have that pressure anymore. I don't know, maybe it's just like I've become more confident, like, in myself and my identity. Maybe that's kind of, maybe that is it.
I definitely think like the whole hair thing though, like as a girl growing up, any comments would like literally hit you in the chest as if like the end of the world is coming. Like I remember when I got called like Medusa was like a norm. And then one day someone looked at me and went, yo, you look like the Predator. And I was like, nah, that's it, mum. I'm never having braids again. I took them out that night. I sat up that night, done my entire head of hair. I took them out. I was like, I'm never having them again. It took me up until I was 18 years old to have braids again, because that Medusa and that Predator comment hit me hard. I cried.
I'm laughing, but I did get it.
It's so peak. It hurts.
Sometimes the creativity of the insults is like, you really
like you're wasting your energy on insulting me when you could actually be smart. Because some of them were really good.
The energy taken to come up with the insults. Sometimes do a little Google and educate, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's beside the point.
Lord have mercy. But yeah, should we move on to question 2? So what would you say was your experience being at a Scottish university so far as a Black individual? Whomever would like to answer this first?
I'll go.
Okay.
It's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit like jarring. It is like quite a bit different from high school. I stayed in the same city for university, and you quickly realize that like how many people come from other parts of Scotland that have clearly like never met a Black person before in their life, and like all their ideas about Black people come from like Top Boy and like TV and rap and all that shit. So yeah, people have like a lot of expectations. Like I got asked in Freshers Week so many times if I would sell them weed, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Because obviously like I know where to get it, and obviously I just have loads just stocked up in my room. And it's just like ridiculous. People being like, if a hip hop song will come on, people be like, oh yeah, you know this one. Expect me to like rap, or like if we're in the club, people expect me to like dance or twerk or something. Like I'll be good at dancing, which I'm not. Or I've just had random strangers come up to me in clubs and like touch my hair, like not even ask, not even make like themselves known to me. I just like, I'd be dancing with my pals, and then like I just feel a hand like in my hair behind me. I turn around and there's some guy with his hand in my hair, like, ew. Yeah, and I've also had like people in my course, because I do mechanical engineering, and there's literally one other Black person in my course. And people have like insinuated that, oh, right, you only got this place because of diversity or something like that. It's like one of those double-edged things. It's like, it's being Black and being a woman in engineering. It's like, obviously you got in there, not on your own merit, but purely because the unit wanted to look diverse. Yeah, and you also get like a lot of like tokenism as well, like especially like certain, when they go to employer fairs and like certain I guess events that are put on by the uni, they'll always want you to be put in pictures, you know, so they look a little bit more diverse, and it's just like, it's a bit insulting, and it's just kind of, yeah, tokenism. But one of the, I mean, it's not all bad. Like one of the really good things about uni is they've got stuff like ACS and a BAME society. So you do get to meet like so many other people that, you know, look like you and have kind of similar experiences to you. So you can kind of laugh about it, you can have fun. So I guess, yeah, that there is like an upside.
That sounds really cool. What about yourself?
Yeah, just to add to that, like I would say the one thing that coming to university, like we're such a minority, like Black students on campus, like especially, do you guys go to University of Glasgow? No, okay. So at uni, like such a small, no, I was just wondering, you guys on campus, but yeah, we're literally so many, like a small percentage. But one thing that has helped, I think, is like, Inas was saying, was like societies, like the African Caribbean societies, or like the society, just like meeting like-minded or people that kind of look like you or like are similar to you in terms of culture. Do you know what I mean? Like just meeting people like that. It kind of just makes you feel a little bit more at home, a little bit more at ease. Like I feel like you stick out too much. That makes sense. So yeah, I'd say like the societies definitely had an impact on my experience on campus.
Yeah.
And sort of outside of the uni experience, did both of you kind of have like a strong Black community to sort of lean on, or did you have to create your own friends, seek them out, or anything like that prior to uni?
Kind of, because I moved from like a different city for uni, so in a way I did have to create my own like kind of Black community, or like make new friends and all that kind of stuff. So I would say like I did have to create a new like community to like lean on. What about you guys?
Well, the thing is, I go to uni, but I actually don't go to like a campus uni. So I do open uni. Okay. So I've not really had to, you know, sort of deal with being a minority, because nobody knows I'm a minority. Just blending in with people. But yeah, it's just, but I do get it though, like where you guys are coming from. Like I can only actually imagine what it's like not having, you know, well, not being in like a majority in a situation like that, because sometimes it'd be intimidating as hell when you're the only Black person anywhere. I mean, it happens like almost every day, but still intimidating. It's peak.
Yeah, I guess for myself, I've never really had like a sort of strong Black community to rely on. When I think about both, you know, going through primary, high school, and university experience, kind of like Shirley, I went through the open uni process, but it wasn't for me. But like, I guess I've had to make a conscious effort to actually seek out like other Black people, because like there is a distinct shortage in Scotland and it is really hard, but you kind of have to like, right, you have to sit yourself down sometimes and kind of have that talk with yourself like, oh my God, like, yeah, I think I actually do need to speak to people within my own community and have that shared life experience. I'm sure you guys know that it is a lot easier to talk about just like things that happen to people that already know and are experiencing it and get that advice that you want. But like for myself, like I've had to actually go out and make friends and say, Susie, man, oh my God, nah, you need to you do something.
I actually envy that energy though still. Like going out and making friends. That's like my biggest phobia on earth. I just find public socializing weird. Like people are like, oh yeah, you should just go to like a library and like say hi to someone. I'm like, that is creepy. Like if someone approached me and randomly went, hey, I'd be like, whoa, hold up. I'm not sure what you're doing right now because I don't know you and you don't know me.
Yeah.
Am I the only person that's like that? Or are y'all just like...
No, I don't like interaction as well in public, to be fair. No, I think I made a decision. I was like, you need to make friends. Have you guys ever encountered any barriers within Scottish society, or just kind of like in education or work? Do you think it's ever affected any of the opportunities that that could have been coming to you, or anything like that, or hindered any opportunities that did come to you?
I think like maybe like when in school, like there's some opportunities that they'd be like, oh, you have to be a British born individual to kind of do like apply for certain internships and stuff. And then you'd feel like, oh well, I'm just as qualified as anyone else, and like why does it have to be such a barrier in terms of like applying for that kind of thing? So I felt like, yeah, when I was like in high school and stuff, I would say that kind of limited my ability to apply for certain like internships or like work experience and placements and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Did you ever find that you kind of had a little bit of a, like, I find this in myself, like a juxtaposition between who I think I am, like I'm able to do X, Y, Z, and then like, whether it's like in education or work, like they're hiring you because of, and you're like, but I know I'm capable, but are you hiring me because?
What do you mean? Sorry, do you mean in terms of, are they doing like a...
Like, yeah, are you perhaps filling a quota?
Yeah, diversity.
No.
Yeah, I think, yeah, probably is something that is in the back of all of our minds. You're just like, are you just hiring me to tick a box? I think especially with the explosion of the Black Lives Matter movement, like this year, and like there was a lot of pressure on companies now to kind of show how many Black people they have in their like their organization and the top end of the organization. And I think that it probably is in the back of people's minds, like, oh, are you just hiring me just to kind of tick a box and say that you're a diverse employer, or you're hiring me because like you believe in my capabilities and my like abilities? But yeah, I think it's something that it is in the back of our minds.
I do feel that.
And I feel like you can't really bring it up as well, because like you could, if people see you like, I guess like moaning about not getting a job because you're Black, and then also getting a job because you're Black, then people kind of see you as like ungrateful in a way, like, oh, like there's no pleasing some people, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also you kind of don't, for me, I don't want to bring up that conversation in kind of like the wrong company as well, because if people, I feel like people shouldn't see you like questioning why you got the job, because then that might confirm in some people's minds that, yeah, even you agree that you got the job because of your race, to take a quota or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys have any sort of direct comment? Oh, sorry, Shirley.
No, sorry, I was just making a comment. I find it's a mad process to like sort of think in your head, as like, every single time you like apply for jobs, that always just runs in the back of my mind somewhere.
Yeah.
Feeling. But yeah.
I guess I was gonna ask, like, how, like, have you guys ever sort of gotten a job and ever experienced somebody say something that is like, well, you've entered the workplace as, like, oh yeah, they just like kind of needed to hire a Black person, or ever had that vibe or anything like that? Or anything like that?
Definitely. That has happened a couple of times. Like, I remember I walked into this interview and, like, obviously my name is Shirley McPherson. Nobody would expect Shirley McPherson to be a Black person. So obviously I'd handed in my CV. Funnily enough, I'd actually handed in my CV in person, but it wasn't the same person that I handed it into to who was interviewing me, and I walked in and I was like, "Hi, I'm here for an interview," and he's like, "What time at?" I'm like, 12 o'clock. And he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes." He goes, 2 seconds. And then he checks the booking. He's like, "Are you Shirley McPherson?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I wasn't expecting you to be Black." And I was just standing there like, do I say something? I didn't say something, unfortunately, but I really wish I did. I really, really wish I did.
It is sometimes to just kind of have to weigh up the options.
Yeah, I was like, I need money.
I need this job more than I need the vindication. Yeah.
I need a job.
It's hard to kind of have to reconcile those two. Like, do I speak out and potentially not get the job, I guess, in Shirley's instance, or do I speak out and potentially alienate myself and not get the job?
Exactly.
I haven't had any of those kind of situations or anything come up in the context of work or anything like that.
I think that one example that I could think of is like when you're at work and then people, I'm just going to talk about, because this is like the most recent one, the Black Lives Matter movement. And it was at the time that people were going out for the protests, like in Glasgow and stuff. And like I was having people at work and being like, "Oh, there's people going out for protests. Like, what are they protesting about? Like this, and that." And like, and I felt that I couldn't really like speak out and say like what I really thought, because you don't want to now be seen as the angry Black woman. I know it's such a weird thing, but like they really, that's like one thing they will pin at. This girl is always so angry, always trying to speak out about things like this is that. And then like when on reflection, like you think about it, you're like, I really should have like spoken up and like spoken out about that kind of stuff. But maybe in a way you just feel like you won't get the support of like, if it goes further, like you won't get the support of like your employers, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I definitely should, like Shirley was saying, like speak out more often about things.
It's a painful one.
Yep. I just saw a question. What was it? What do you love about being Black and Scottish?
Giving people that with the visuals and the accent.
Yeah, the accent. The accent.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like the Glaswegian accent, guys, let's talk about that because that's mad. Like, listen, I have been in this country for God knows how many years. I go to Glasgow and I struggle. Like, I'm like looking at them like, say it again. It's a madness.
It is a very strong accent.
For the longest time ever, I found it like hard to take in the Scottish accent because I had a bit of an in-between. I think I still have an in-between accent, where I had like a bit of a Zambian accent and I had this American accent because of the school that I went to. Stop it. The school that I went to was kind of like American syllabus and all that stuff back home. And then I came here and I was ingesting that Scottish accent, and then now I speak in a very strange way, but I think
it's a mixture.
Yeah, I've got an okay, I don't know what you were, but okay, accent. But I think definitely I notice it more when I go to like down south, like in England, and they're talking at you, and then you say something. That's when you realize I'm really quite Scottish, actually. Definitely, I enjoy the accent quite a lot. But actually, the best thing about being back in Scottish for me is perhaps living in Scotland. I think I quite enjoy the scenery. It's really nice. If you guys have been in Edinburgh before, you know you've seen Princess Street. And can we just take a second to, you know, appreciate there's a castle in the middle of the city on like a mount, like is it a volcano?
You make it sound magical, sis. As if you don't see it every single day.
As if I don't see it every day, but I don't get to like truly appreciate it. You know, I've only just sort of started really thinking about it because of lockdown and COVID, and nobody walk down that street every day. Actually, it is a bit rare to see such a big piece of any country's history right there in the middle, and you can see it for free.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Ask, what do you like about being Black and Scottish?
I say like the novelty, especially when you go abroad, people are just like amazed by, again, the accent. It's also, it is fun to like hear, like see the look on people's faces when you talk to them over the phone, and then you meet them in person and you're like, wasn't expecting this, were you? But yeah, I love that it is still quite a niche. You know, we are only like 4% of the population, and then when you meet someone else that's like Black and Scottish, it's like a kind of community. It's kind of like a mutual understanding, and I love the kind of like the blend of the cultures. Like you're out and about in Scottish culture, you go to the pub, and then you go home, and then it's a different culture. So I guess the variety that affords you is quite good as well. Yeah, I like living in Scotland.
I definitely agree with the blend of cultures thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I'm Nigerian and I'm also Scottish, and like just being able to kind of like weave yourself between the two cultures and like can kind of pick and choose. But yeah, no, I like the blend of cultures. I agree.
I would have to like ditto that and say that is my favorite part about being Scottish, is the culture.
Is what, sorry?
And the biscuits, actually. The culture and the biscuits.
Biscuit.
Mate, shortbread. No.
You guys with that brand, it's called Eat Some More.
Stop it. Leave me with Eat Some More, please. Your energy needs to stop.
African brand, but it's like Scottish, like shortbread.
Yeah. I think it's like shortbread made in Scotland but imported to South Africa.
Yeah. And it sort of reminds me of like a blend, but
yeah,
how things are, it's probably owned by an American company.
Yeah, never know.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a good mishmash of Scottish and sort of African culture, like in food, because I'm a big food person. So that's, for me, it's like trying to see.
I saw something about haggis jollof somewhere on the internet. I'm not even lying. I saw something about, but you know the thing is, when I heard it, I wasn't even mad. Like I wasn't like, ew. I was like, okay. I would attempt that. I think I'm gonna attempt that.
You should. Let us know how it turns out.
Yeah, but first I need to learn how to make jollof. So.
There's a question from Mentimeter. They said, "I love Black Scot Pod." So by the way, that's yours. Both of you kind of do that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You were brave to start a podcast. What other suggestions do you have for elevating Black voices on campus and in the community?
That's a very good question. I guess probably trying to normalize going into creative industries. For me, I think creative industries is a really important part of any culture and society, and I think encouraging a lot more Black and Scottish people to go into these kinds of fields is probably like should be something that universities probably look towards, because if you kind of like, the way I think about our world and society is like it's primarily at this point driven by media and the things that we see. So I think if we start to see a lot more Black faces and hear a lot of Black voices, especially maybe Scottish ones, especially in Britain, it starts to normalize us being in that space and allows us to like flourish. And yeah, like we should have always been there, but fundamentally it means that a range of voices are always visible and always seen.
I totally ditto that, Susie. But nah. But I feel like this I really like the fact that there's certain types of societies in unis. I think those are like probably like the best thing, like just because I think for myself, like if I hadn't had like societies or like Black charities or like Black little, like when I was younger, like I went to a lot of like groups hosted like by ethnic people, and it was just like every Friday just meeting up and doing stuff, but I was around people of my own culture, of like people that understand me, it helped me sort of realize that I should not be trying to make myself someone that I'm not, but actually really just stick to who I am. And that's sort of when I started realizing that, you know what, I want to be creative and I want to sort of like do something else with my life that is not a 9-to-5 job. But it just showed me that I was putting myself on this track that wasn't necessarily for me. Like I had this mentality that in order for me to be this way, I must be this way, I must be this way, I must follow white culture. But because I had sort of those like later on in my life, I just sort of realized that it's better to be not with your people per se, because I'm not really saying that they're not my people, they are kind of, but like my people, you know? Yeah. So I would say just stick to your people. That was a really roundabout way to say that, but yeah.
What about yourself, Inas?
I guess just getting more involved. Like it's always a challenge, especially for like the BAME Society and Strathclyde, to figure out how to get Black people or people of colour interested in what you're doing, and the trick is you have to kind of make it relevant to them, and you have to make them see why they want to be a part of it. I know a lot of people just kind of want to go to uni and keep their head down and get their degree and not really get involved in life. But if I think they will want to become more and more involved. I mean, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to be focused on academics, but I think it is really rewarding if you do get involved in campus life and around the community, because it is really, really vibrant. And once people see how much fun they have, I think they'll want to join in as well, and they'll want to, you know, grow our community.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that in terms of like in saying like get involved with societies and all that kind of stuff. Because I feel like, yeah, if you get involved with like societies like the African Caribbean Society, stuff where there's people like kind of like you, like Black people and African Caribbean people, they're like together, then like then your voices will be heard, I guess, if you're all coming together to kind of for like a cause, or like you're coming together to do something. Then yeah, like your voices will be elevated, I feel, anyway. But yeah, definitely get involved in societies.
Another wee question there. What is Black Scottish culture like? Really good question. Shirley?
I don't know, to be honest. I think, do you know what? I've been thinking about it fairly recently because someone asked me the same question not too long ago, and I have been digging my brain, like trying to figure out what it is, and I don't know.
I don't know if it's something you can explain.
It's really hard to. The feeling is there because you can describe it. You know the feeling. You know them nights where it's like after like 3:30 and you're about like walking the streets and like you just don't care and you're gonna get a chippy. That's what I feel like it is for me.
Yeah, I mean,
you've got to make up tomorrow.
No, I think it is quite a hard question. Like, yeah. I've also had a wee think about it like over the last wee bit. I think it's hard for us to maybe quantify it because a lot of us are maybe the first generation. So we're still trying to figure out like what our space and what our place is, and it's hard to get that culture. I think we will get there really quickly, but I think, to me anyway, when I think about Black Scottish culture, it's a lot of discovery, and it's a lot of digging deep behind our individual cultures, bringing them like kind of like in the middle, because like what I found is like I'm quite a secluded person and I don't have a lot of friends, but you know, when I hang out with Shirley, you're my only friend. Like when I hang out with a lot of friends from different African nations, or even like, you know, Jamaica and stuff, I find that we have like this shared, like it's like a shared history. It may be brief to like for my generation, but we can all sort of be like, yo, remember when we were in high school and like you were the only black person and you like instantly resonate with struggles and all that stuff. And hey, remember when like you came here speaking like 3 different languages, now you can only speak English. Kind of stuff. And it might be different kind of going forward as we like figure each other out some more, and maybe as we talk to other Black and Scottish people that have been here for more generations, and we like develop that bigger sense of this is what it is to be Black and Scottish together. Probably not a really good answer, and it seems a bit roundabout, but like yeah,
TBC.
Yeah, it's
long. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I guess for myself, it's been 17 years, and that's relatively new, and it probably need to have a conversation with somebody who was born here and somebody who maybe had been here since like time. Popular saying what their definition of Black and Scottish culture is, but I think we're all in it together fundamentally. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'd also say that like it is like a hard question. There's not really an answer to it, just because I think something has to be a bit like, we have to be, I think, bigger in population for us to really make our kind of mark, for there to be like a distinctive one, because we're also all from different countries as well. So it is quite hard to answer, but I guess like we have to be a bit creative, and because we are still considered like a novelty, we can have that freedom to create our own kind of definition of Black Scottish culture. Like, for example, I would start adding like Scottish twists to like food that my mum would make. So I'd just get like some like tamia, which is like falafel, and then just start, and it's already fried, and I just like dip it in batter and then deep fry it again, and it's really crispy, and I was like, this is delicious, I'm a genius. So I guess like, I think Black Scottish culture is pretty much what you make of it, because there's no set kind of meaning of it now. I just remember like growing up, obviously I thought it was weird that I had like a kind of Scottish accent, and I'd like this. I remember feeling like, oh, I wish I lived in England. I could just have a normal accent and no one would look at me like I was weird or anything. So yeah, I do remember comparing myself to English people as well. Like, oh, they're so cool. They've got cool accents. But yeah, I think I'm starting to like being Scottish and feeling a bit more comfortable.
I've been okay with that. You find like you guys go down south that you're kind of taking 2 things there with you. You're taking being Black and you're taking being Scottish.
Yeah, I remember I went to like a Black students conference, and I remember like everyone like kind of taking the piss in a friendly way, because I would say stuff like "we," and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're so cute."
Yeah, I definitely feel that. We say, "Oh, I."
I hate when people like down south do terrible Scottish accents to me. It's like, stop. It's uncomfortable because it's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we have another question. Do you find that being Black and Scottish is a difficult identity to hold? Susie, what would you say?
I think it has been in the past, especially very, very early on, because I didn't really know what was happening. Like my mom first came, and then my dad and myself followed, and then, like I say, 24 hours to go from majority Black country to like majority white country. You don't have a lot of time to adjust what your identity is. Never mind sort of growing up. And yeah, I know I make like a lot of jokes about it, but like one of the biggest identity struggles that I perhaps went through was losing the ability to speak my native language. Like I can't speak, Bemba or Nyanja. I can understand bits of it, but I can't speak it. And that's been like a bit of a turmoil to me, because it's like, there's nothing I can truly do about it. Like, I can speak to my parents, but because they're from two different sort of tribes, it's hard. And there's not that big community for me to practice my language. So it can be like, which one am I? But I think I've gotten a lot better with that. And I think for me, it's just kind of recognizing that, like I said, I guess like a few minutes ago, it's like we're all in this together, and a lot of us are going through the exact same struggles now. So I feel like that in itself makes me feel a little bit okay about my identity, because I'm still figuring it out. I probably will be figuring it out for a lot more years, and I probably shouldn't stress about it. Just be yourself with your Scottish.
That's true.
I think back in Scotland, it is like a little bit of a hard identity. Just because I think like growing up and stuff, you're in a little bit of a limbo. Like you're not Scottish enough to be Scottish, and like you're not like, I don't say like black enough to be black. Like you're just in the middle, like, because they've obviously moved away from like, well, I'm just talking about my experience. I moved away from Nigeria, and like I came to this new country. I just felt like I was just in the middle. Like for a while, like I just didn't know my identity. Like I didn't know, like, maybe in a way you thought that you had to be one or another. And like it wasn't until I was older that I kind of understood that you can blend those two things together. Like you don't have to say, oh, I'm Scottish and I forget about you, like your Black or Nigerian heritage, or like, oh, I'm Nigerian and I forget about your Scottish heritage. So yeah, I would say like growing up and stuff, it was a little bit hard to get to grips with that. And I think like you were saying, that like when you're growing up, like you're just trying to figure out your identity anyway, like anyone's trying to figure out, and then to just add like this whole new culture that you have to get to grips with, like I would say it was hard. But I think I'm slowly getting there, slowly but surely.
Yeah, I would say the same pretty much. Like I've lived here for like 15 years, and I'd still kind of like feel a bit weird about calling myself Scottish, just because I know someone's going to be like, no, you're not Scottish. I'm like, it's not even that deep. I don't care. I'm just saying like I live here. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like describing myself. But like you also don't want to say like, oh, you're British, because that's also like kind of weird as well.
Yeah.
And like basically I'm from Sudan, so like I kind of relate to what Susie was saying about losing your language, because like for us it was like Arabic, and it's such a struggle to hold on to what you have of it. And like even then Arabic is kind of it's like a, I guess, colonial language, I guess, because it's not like Sudan and Sudanese people already have an identity crisis over whether they're like African or Arab, and going to like Scotland on top of it, it's like, oh great, I have another identity crisis. So it's fun to wrestle with. But yeah, I would say that if you just, I don't know, I've just started not caring anymore about like how to identify myself. I just kind of let people identify me how they want to, because it doesn't really mean that much to me, and it's not really that big of a deal. If someone, it's mainly the where are you from question that throws me, because I never know what to answer. It's like,
yeah, I don't think people really understand that when they're asking you where are you from, what that truly implies, because you can be from like literally anywhere, but what
Everywhere and anywhere.
I feel like,
and you never know if they mean like what city are you from, like where do you live, or why aren't you white?
Yeah. You're never like satisfied by the answer. Like if you're like, from, you're like Scotland, but like, well, where are you really from? Like, Scotland. But yeah, I think that's a little bit like identity, because you're like, now I have to start explaining where my mom's from or my dad's from. Like, I don't owe you anything. I'm Scottish.
Yeah, I totally get that struggle. But I would say, do you know what? Like, I actually totally like I agree with you guys with the whole like having it like difficult to hold on to. Like, see, when Susie and I say that like you guys found it hard to like retain your language, Like that for me is one of my biggest fears in the entire world. Like I feel like I very, very strongly identify as a Scottish person, and I would say maybe the only thing that's sort of like tethering me to my culture at the moment is the fact that I am still very, very immersed in it. Like I speak it every single day in the house. I speak it with like, even now, like if my friends and my social friends, I've now been able to like speak and learn our languages and the nuances in our languages, and we can finally understand each other. So the prospect of like losing that for me, I feel like I would literally fall into like a deep hole of like unknowingness. So when you guys say that, I'm like, yo, because I even forget sometimes Susie doesn't speak the same language as me. Like there's literally times where I'm looking at Susie and I'm about to say something and I'm like, okay, English. Like it's generally the most painful thing ever. So guys, I'm sorry.
I think they're saying, was there another question? I can't even see. Do you think that black
I can't even see.
like I literally kind of black by POC people are adequately represent. I need glasses. Zoom University is killing my eyes. Do you find that being black? Do you think that black and bi POC people are adequately represented at uni, both students and lecturers? Does anything need to change? I will start by saying they're absolutely not represented on campus. There's only one black lecturer in our university on campus. So yeah, I definitely think that needs to change. Like, no, it needs to change. Like, come on, we're in the 21st century. Like, you can do better than that.
I think people don't understand, like, I guess I'm thinking about the phrase representation matters. Like, do you think people don't sometimes see that if you are a uni student, you probably need to see somebody who looks like you? Sometimes they're able to explain the world to you.
Yeah.
Things that you're going to encounter. So they think when you say we need do you think we need more black or BIPOC people? They're just thinking a quota and not thinking these people that can explain better what the uni students are going to face later on in life, and any things that they've encountered and things that they can teach from that perspective, perhaps. Or am I just like here?
I mean, I think it's also the fact that universities aren't really representative of society as a whole. So they're not representative of people from different class backgrounds. So that obviously will tie in to like race and stuff like that. And obviously Black people are kind of disproportionately likely to be kind of disadvantaged, like socioeconomically. So yeah, these kind of things all feed into each other. So yeah, we definitely need to like address that, because it's one thing to like have lots of Black lecturers and students, but we also need to make sure they're like adequately supported and stuff. So it's not just so that your uni looks good on the leaflets.
Yeah, not for the quota. Yeah. I guess I kind of agree with that, but yeah, I definitely do say that it is important that we have more Black, because I think it's something. There's how many lecturers on campus, and there's only one. Like, you can't tell me there's not people that are suited for the role, or maybe they need to look at their like. Maybe I don't. Let me not even start. They'll pay me for this kind of. But yeah, I think it's something that needs to be like looked at like within the university as a whole, and kind of look at like how they hire people and all that kind of stuff. But that's like a big rabbit hole we don't want to get into. But yeah.
I guess I think Ella sort of said that the speed was slow to start, and we maybe missed the first question, which was in high school and primary. If everybody wants to just do like a few lines on that one.
I like someone take one for the team.
It's a little bit hard, but we'll just sort of cover that in case there's anybody watching this after the fact and they're perhaps new to Scotland and want to know what it was like for us. Yeah, well, this time I'll be fair. I'll start with Anas because you're on mute.
Yeah, I think everyone here has said like other kids wanting to touch their hair is like a big thing. And being really self-conscious. Like I remember I'd get up in the morning and like straighten my hair every day because I wanted to fit in. And then by the end of it, I just like didn't care anymore. Like my arms are tired. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you could have spent those hours like doing literally anything else. You could have been like reading a book. You could have got like an extra hours lying in bed. And I guess there's a lot of things that you see and like teachers don't notice, or they do notice because it happens right in front of them and they just decide that they're not going to do anything about it. It's not worth their time. So yeah, that is a bit annoying, especially if you react to that, then you will be the one to get in trouble when someone makes a racist comment towards you.
True.
Toby?
Yep, I agree.
I was gonna say, I think that's a pretty good summary of kind of what experiences were like, and I think that's something about
In a nutshell.
Black Scottish culture where you really do like have shared experiences, even though we've probably never met each other before.
Yeah.
But we all like kind of resonate with that, with the things that we've been through and that kind of things that happened in the past, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think you've given a pretty good summary of.
Yeah, no, I
That was pretty excellent.
it was incredibly sufficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably that's a good place to end it. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I think this has actually been quite useful. I think for myself, just feeling really good. Yeah. So I guess I've just a message there about. Do we want to plug Black Scott Pod? Yes, we do.
Wow, Sydney, you okay?
Yeah, I guess if you quite enjoyed conversations that we had today, both with and Anas, you might quite enjoy listening to Black Scott Pod, although I can't really guarantee that it'll always be as intellectual as this. We do discuss kind of current topics and pop culture and all of that kind of stuff, as well as the serious elements that affect being Black and Scottish and the culture, I guess being the Black diaspora. So if you are quite interested, please listen to Black Scott Pod. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, all the socials at Black Scott Pod. And I think as well, like, honestly, it's been so good, like, meeting you both, Toby and Anas, because I think it is other people, like, kind of living the same experience, because it can be really easy to feel like you're kind of alone going through it.
Yeah. But it's like, it just goes to show you, just like, even like from city to city, because personally, like, I've never really met anyone from Glasgow. Like I know people, but I've never spoken to them. Like, you know, but it's just really interesting to know that like it's just the same like across the board, and like we have the same struggles. But it's like it's so mad because like as much as there's like there isn't a lot of us, but there is enough of us for us to know each other. Mm-hmm. And it's like this whole thing of like feeling isolated. Like when you think back to like when you were younger, you're like, I was so isolated in my own world, not knowing that we all doing the same thing. Like it just be like that. And it's just so painful to think that it's taken like God knows how many years for us to finally be like, we have Black friends.
Yeah.
That's a sticky one still.
Yeah.
But it has been a pleasure.
Yes,
indeed.
Good.
Okay, if I can just come in quickly there then. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has sat for an hour and chatted away, and for everyone that will be listening. It's been really interesting. Thank you all for joining, and Susie and Shirley, like they've said, go and check out Black Scott Pod. They're on Twitter, and I think your podcast is on Spotify.
Oh gosh, yeah. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever stuff we Google, you'll be able to find it.
Should all be there. What Susie said.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you again, everyone. Enjoy your evening, and we will leave it there. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.